everybody, my name is Elegance. I'm glad that my team and I can sharing our research with you today. First, let me introduce my team members. They are Moon, Chelsea, and Stephen Denby. I will sharing mainly about 4 parts that you can see on the screen. Is there anyone know about the situation? The watch market is a bit messed up right now. You can take a look at the picture on the slide. This is the area of the United States where fake watches are zeros. According to the screen industry data in 2022, there were more than 23 million of fake watches around the US market. Isn't that a big number? For the real watch brands, it's like a nightmare. Our research is mainly based on the Swiss brand Randall, which has a history of more than 100 years. Their watches are like works of art. Their design style is understated but super fashion. This brand gets much price in the world. Randall watches are quite expensive. The price is between 2,000 and 4,000. They are at the high end of the market. If I need to describe it, I will use 2 words. That is the quietly confidence. So why do some people buy fake watches? Well, we are going to share our research today with 4 main internal influences. First, let's talk about the interesting concept called self-branding. This means that we associate the brand image we like with the person we want to be. I explain Singh's self-consistency theory with simple examples. Like if you want to be a high-grade student, you are more likely to play with high-grade students. Many people think that Randall represents a state of super cool and quietly confidence, but real watches are too expensive. Like I said before, some people can't afford them, so maybe a little people have come up with the not so good idea of choosing fake Randall. They think that by wearing a fake, they can be the person they've always dreamed of being and hanging out with other people who likes Randall. It makes them feel super cool and quietly confident. Next, let's turn to the next person, Moon.
Alright, here comes my part. Hi, I'm Moon. I'm glad to show my idea for you guys today. As mentioned above, also many consumers know these are counterfeits. They still choose to purchase them. Why is it like this? This involves our second key point today, the perception process. First of all, let's take a look at it. Perceptual process involves various stages of obtaining information from the external environment and interpreting it. It is a complex cognitive process, which mainly includes 4 steps: exposure, attention, interpretation, and retention. Now, let's move on what will happen after applying the perceptual process to this scenario. During the exposure stage, consumers initially come into a contract with a certain piece of information or product but are still unsure whether to pay attention to it, such as seeing a counterfeit Riddle watch on social media or in commercial platforms. During the attention stage, it refers to the situation where the product design in the advertisement particularly attracts you, and you might stop to take a closer look and gain a deeper understanding of the product. Some consumers are attracted by words such as look exactly the same, and only a few percent of the price that symbolize counterfeit Riddle watch. And the interpretation part, the interpretation stage refers to the fact that after you understand this product, you may generate your own thoughts and explanation about it based on your own cognition. For instance, when it comes to counterfeit Riddle watch, they might think, although it's a fake, its quality is still quite good. Even though its cost effectiveness, many people would believe that the practicality it offers is superior to that of the junior product. Finally, the retention part. This stage is very crucial. It means that when you notice or use a product and remember it, it might lead to that possibility that you will still consider it when you are ready to purchase in the future. For consumers who purchase counterfeits do watch when they find non-negative effects after the first purchase and use, and even have a good experience. This experience will be remembered and influence whether they will repurchase in the future. In summary, from this process, we can see that consumers usually do not passively accept counterfeit goods, but gradually rationalize their purchasing behaviors on perception and cognition. That is to say, even if they know it is a counterfeit, consumers may still make a mid purchase because the perceived value is higher than the risk. And from the habit of repeated purchases after good experience. Next, let's turn to the next person.
Hi everyone, my name is Inti Hertz. Today I'm gonna introduce one of the key internal influence in consumer behavior, which is motivations, and then I will be focused on the Maslow hierarchies of needs. This theory help us understand why consumers sometimes make a choice that seems irrational, like buying counterfeit luxury products, but actually reflect deeper psychological needs. Let's take a close look at how motivation drive behavior, especially in the case of fake rattle watch. So let's start with the introduction to motivation. Motivation is one of the key internal psychological forces that influence consumer behavior. It explains why people want what they want. It's not just about physical products, it's about emotional and psychological fulfillment. For instance, when a consumer chooses a fake rattle, it may not be because of the watch function, but because of the feeling fake rattle give, like appearing successful or fitting in with peace. So this leads us one of the most well-known theories to explain motivation, which is Maslow hierarchies of needs. And then I'm gonna talk about the Maslow hierarchies of need. The Maslow theory suggests that human needs are structured like a pyramid, from a basic survival to psychological growth. As we meet lower needs like food and safety, we are motivated to pursue higher ones like love, instinct, and self-fulfillment in marketing and consumer behavior. This help us to understand that people don't buy things for utility, they buy for meaning, especially when someone buy a fake luxury item like fake rattle. It's often an attempt to satisfy a psychological need, not just a material one. So let's apply Maslow to a real example. Someone buying a fake red watch at the esteem level, they may want to feel important or be respected by others. At the belonging level, maybe their friends all wear luxury brands and they want to fit in. Some may even reflect their ideal self, someone's stylish, classy, or aspiration. Even if the product is fake, it still meets a real need. That's why we say, in many cases, fake luxury serve a real psychological desire. So at the end of my part, I want to summarize. Motivation is not just about people what they buy, it's about why they buy. So using Maslow hierarchies model, we can see that the counterfeit purchase are not just irrational choice. They are often deeply motivated by unmet psychological needs. As marketers or observers, we must understand these needs to fully understand consumer behavior. So, to sum up, motivation, especially through the Maslow hierarchies, plays a powerful role in shaping consumer behaviors. Even in the case of fake luxury, what we are really seeing is people trying to fulfill emotional and psychological needs. So, thank you for listening. So, let's turn to the next group member part. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Steph, and it's my turn to talk about why consumers may choose to purchase a counterfeit watch. Over time, many consumers form certain opinions surrounding brands, people, products, and just anything in general. This may be built up from feelings and emotions, general knowledge that they found online, or just because they've already purchased a product from a company that they really like. All of these components creating what is called an attitude. And an attitude is a general evaluation of the people, objects, advertisements, or issues in general. One way to describe this better could be the hierarchy of effects, but I'll talk about that later. So, what makes up an attitude? Well, there are three components: the cognitive, affective, and behavioral. The cognitive component describes the consumer's beliefs and knowledge surrounding a brand or a product. For example, searching up online and finding out that a new Radar watch is on sale. This could also be searching up online and finding out that there are counterfeits at a more affordable, cheaper price and look exactly the same as the real deal. So, this is where the affective component comes in. This is the consumer's thoughts and feelings surrounding a specific product or a brand. And in this example, a consumer may feel sad or jealous because they don't have a luxury watch, but it's too expensive to purchase a Radar watch, so they look towards buying a counterfeit, which makes them feel happy and positive knowing that they might own a luxury item without having to go through all the trouble of spending a lot of money. And then finally, this is where the behavioral component comes in. This is the consumer's behavior surrounding purchasing products, which could be habitual or impulse buying. And this is basically the step before they purchase a counterfeit watch. So in this example, a behavioral component may be used to justify one's means of purchasing a counterfeit watch or impulsively buying a counterfeit watch because you've bought counterfeits previously. And all of these can also be described in a process called the hierarchy of effects. The hierarchy of effects is basically an explanation between a consumer in relation to the market. There are four hierarchies, which is the standard learning hierarchy, the low involvement hierarchy, and the experiential hierarchy, and the behavioral hierarchy. In this case, in the example that I used before for the cognitive, affective, and behavioral components, the consumer is using what is called the standard learning hierarchy, where the consumer first gathers information on the brand or product, then forms feelings and emotions surrounding that product, which is the Radar watches or the counterfeits, and then acts on those what they have discovered. So in this example as well, the consumer found information of Radar watch and counterfeit watches online, then felt happy about purchasing a counterfeit because it's more affordable, it looks exactly the same as a Radar watch, and they feel happy about this purchase because they know that it won't negatively affect them. Then they will just behave on impulse, perhaps possibly already bought counterfeits in the past and everyone complimented them. So they're like, yes, this justifies my decision to create that purchase. So, in summary, an attitude is formed of three components: the cognitive, affective, and behavioral. The cognitive component creates the idea of luxury and the awareness of counterfeits. The affective component shows a positive emotional response to having a luxury watch and the want to own one. And the behavioral component justifies the purpose of buying a counterfeit Radar watch through the consumer's beliefs. And then the hierarchy of effect demonstrates this process through the standard learning hierarchy, all forming an attitude and all creating the decision to purchase a counterfeit Radar watch. And this is why a consumer will want to purchase a counterfeit Radar watch. Thank you.
Thanks, Stefan. Now, it shows on the slide is all the reference we used in our research. And thank you guys for watching.